Good afternoon, Megan. Thanks for joining us here on the Hemp Building Podcast.
Wanting to build out of hemp.
House built out of hemp.
I was living in Geoff's completed hemp house while I was designing my own hemp house. And with that insulative layer of the hemp around the outside, it's just been a dream. It works.
It's really affordable. Here, only about 2 hours away, is where the hemp in my house was grown.
Stuff that we're already doing, but you use hemp for it.
Hi there, my name's Jeremy from Environmentarian. Thanks for tuning in to the Hemp Building Podcast. Today's guest is Megan and the panel from the Narara Ecovillage, and the podcast today is sponsored by the Hemp Building Directory. If you'd like to be a sponsor of the podcast, please reach out. Now let's dive in.
Good afternoon, Megan. Thanks for joining us here on the Hemp Building Podcast. My name's Jeremy from Environmentarian. I also run the Hemp Building Directory at hempbuilding.au. I can see you're sitting there in what looks like a very comfortable hempcrete home. You've got a couple of people there that maybe know a little bit about building with hempcrete.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for having us. It's great to be here. And with me here, I have William Eastlake from Integrated Biotecture Design. He's the architect of this house. And we have Geoff Cameron, who is another owner builder here. And this is Michael Lancaster from Moorhouse Constructions, who's my builder. And we're sitting here in a home, a hemp home, as you can see, at the Narara Ecovillage on the Central Coast.
Great to meet you all. As you know, I'm super interested in all things hemp building. So speaking to you guys, I'm super honoured that you've taken some time out today to have a bit of a chat. Really looking forward to hearing what you got to say. So how did this all start?
Well, it all started when the founder of this village, Lyndall Paris, started the Narara Ecovillage. And so before we'd even had the land, people were starting to think about sustainable homes. Maybe I'll just cut to Geoff to say a bit about that.
Thanks, Megan. I became involved about 11 years ago now, and a group of friends got together and decided we were going to buy this block of land that this house is on and the Ecovillage is on. And we started to form a little community as we started planning. And we knew we wanted to build the social part of the village before we could start building the physical part. And one of the things we did start talking about was, what is a sustainable house? When we come around, to the process of building a house, how do you make it sustainable? What do you make it from? What sort of rules do we want for the village? And that guided us towards natural building materials. And one of them, of course, turned out to be hempcrete, which is the one I chose.
Yeah. And I fell in love with hemp when I learned that you could grow enough hemp for your house in 4 months. We did look at growing our own hemp here at the village, and it wasn't cost effective. I'm just so grateful to the farmers, all the people in the supply chain, that everyone that uses their skills so that we can make this happen. And Clara from Australian Hemp Masonry Company, we had these natural building discussions around, soup and tea, and some people chose straw and someone built an earthship house. And there's 5 of us who built hemp in this first stage of the eco-village. Of course, people build with more normal materials as well, but we're definitely encouraging the natural build. And I met actually Will once someone got started. I think, were you the first house, Geoff, or was it Donna's?
I think mine was completed.
Yeah.
It certainly started before Donna. I think it was also completed before Donna. It did take 18 months to build.
Yeah.
Because I ended up doing owner builder.
Yeah.
And the reason, of course, I ended up doing owner builder was because I looked but couldn't find a reputable builder on the Central Coast who knew anything about it. So I figured the only way to do this was if I went out, and I did volunteering on various workshops outside the village for people who were building hemp houses to learn the skills so I could get started on my own project. As it turned out, after my architects did the DA design, they took off to Canada, and I ended up becoming the draftsman, as well as the project manager, as well as the builder. So that was a steep learning curve.
Yeah, great.
So I can see the wall behind you has some oxide put into it. How long ago was that house built?
This place was finished about a year ago. And this wall was the last bit of the hemp that we did on this bottom floor. So after we'd had a bit of a practice, There was about 6 of us, Geoff and Michael included, who helped do this wall. It did take about 3 days because we were being so careful with the design. Our lady, Eva, was the interior designer who was a friend of my neighbour's and who helped on this house as well. And she was the artist behind this wall.
So how did you guys meet each other?
Well, I met Michael actually at an owner builder. Geoff was just speaking about owner building before, and I met Michael at an owner builder course that was put on here at the village. Yeah, Michael was wanting to build out of hemp. This was sort of maybe 6, 8 years before we built our house. And so it was just miraculous when it was actually time to build that Michael was actually still available. So you might want to say about your journey from, the beginning of getting interested in natural build.
I was volunteering for a local permaculture group. One of the areas they focus on is natural buildings. So that's sort of what first drew my attention to that area. One of the speakers, Sydney-based architect, I think it was, perked my interest as a material that could be natural but fit in with a conventional way of building. Potentially you could have an element of getting it in pretty quick. You can still come up with some pretty sort of nice details and get away from keeping everything square and straight. That's really what drew me to it.
And then the team came together when I was helping on another build at the Ecovillage, and we were putting hemp, in the walls, and Will was working hard alongside me. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned that I was, getting ready to start the design, and Will said that was his profession and his skill.
Yeah, so that was Donna's build, I believe, and it was a really good opportunity for me, being a relatively new material. There wasn't a lot of opportunities for me to get experience in designing or building with hemp. So being here at the Narara Ecovillage, I jumped at the chance to jump on a house built out of hemp. Happened to be working alongside Megan, having a great time as you do on a workshop. And just discovered it was a great building material to work, because I'd worked a lot, went down the path of using light straw clay. So I was exploring hemp early on, but I just wasn't so accessible. So I was looking at straw mixed with clay. I was like, can I mix hemp with clay? Yes, you can. And so, but, it just didn't really come up. So that first project was great. And I saw, like Mike said, that the framing technique is not too dissimilar to conventional framing. And it is actually it's quite similar to what we're doing with light straw clay. As our design practice is, integrated biotecture design, we are open to all natural building techniques, and hempcrete certainly fits within that quite nicely.
I was actually so lucky. I was living in Geoff's completed hemp house while I was designing my own hemp house. That was beautiful to be just living in that sort of really grounded space of what a hemp house gives you, what a natural build gives you. We also had a lot of other builds going on at the same time here at the Ecovillage. And so I was meeting everyone that would become part of the team. It was incredible. My plumber lives next door. Geoff had given me his drawings of how to put the walls together that I could pass on to Will. Yeah, we were getting to know the concreters that were good, the excavators that were good. The team was just coming together, and it really felt like I can do this. I can be an owner builder, even though I'm coming from a completely different background. Although thinking about this today, I remembered that actually my dad was an owner. He was a tradie, and he was an owner builder of the house we built when I was 10. We used to sit around at home, and he would look up at the woodwork, and he'd remember with reverence our carpenter. Look at the beautiful work Frank did. I live here in this beautiful home that my friends have helped me build, and the work that Michael has done and the excellent craftsmanship that surrounds me. This door behind him, Michael built out of 4 other recycled doors. And he was just always up for it, up for doing something different. And I think that's what you want to find, if you're going to be an owner builder and you want a team around you that's, tradies are problem solvers. They're fantastic problem solvers, and you just want someone who is going to work alongside you that's willing to work with these beautiful new materials and old materials.
That's for sure. It sounds like the team really came together on your project, but not just on your project, but at the Narara Ecovillage as a whole. Sounds like it's a great community to be involved in.
Oh, look, it's just really wonderful. We are just going from strength to strength. A lot of the stage 1 homes, up to 40 homes here, most of them are finished. We also built 18 townhouses here as a group. And so there's a lot of us living here, a lot of children, just, laughter, playing all the time. It's, we don't have that many lots left to sell in stage 2 either. So the community's really coming together. We have activities on every night of the week, from dancing to storytelling to meditation to potluck dinners. And it's just a joy to be in really distinctive, beautiful homes as well as with the community.
The hempcrete homes, you've got 5 there in the village, and we were talking about how it's not dissimilar to a standard construction in Australia with a slab and sticks and roof, and then you put in your services and hempcrete the walls up. How did everyone come together on the build on the days?
Yeah, I just put out the call on social media and said, I'm building a owner-builder hempcrete house at Narara Ecovillage. Would you like to come and volunteer and learn the skills of hempcrete as part of the build? 10 people turned up and we all had a great time doing it. That's just brilliant.
Yeah. And by the time we were up to that stage of filling the walls, I did advertise on Facebook and places as well to get people to join, but also the community here. There was a lot more of us already here. And so honestly, almost everyone here in the community came and helped put some love into the walls. It's like, because I said, just come for 2 hours if you want. You wouldn't normally do that. You sort of want someone to come for a day or two and build their skills up. But because I just wanted everyone in the community to be part of my house, I just let people just come along and do a little bit. And it was fine. But the only thing was, do you remember, Michael? Oh my goodness. I put it out on Facebook, and there were people just like really wanting to come. I didn't want to let anyone down who really wanted to be part of the workshop. And so on the first day, Michael's like, what have you done to me, Megan? There's so many people here. How am I going to keep up with everyone? Because the carpenters had to, what were you doing?
Oh, there must have been about 3 sort of sections going at once. So you're running around trying to keep everyone going, and
also keeping them.
And they're very keen, so they're just tamping away. And then you got to sort of keep an eye on them and make sure you got that ratio right, and you'll be all over it.
Yeah.
I think the complexity too, just with the curved walls and everything, it sort of adds more labour intensive on the skilled side. So that's definitely going to chew up time a bit more. But we got through it, and I think we got into a bit of a rhythm after that. And
you need a couple of people on the mixer full time who know what they're doing, because you want the mix to be right.
Mm-hmm.
Then you want the carpenters doing the formwork. They need to know what they're doing. The people who are tipping it in, they're the ones who can be the volunteers, and you can learn that skill in 10 minutes. That's easy.
Yeah.
You've reframed a labour challenge into a community building experience, which is, fantastic to understand. Well done.
Yeah, it was a joy.
Yeah, I guess I'm personally trying to take that one step further in stage 2. They're actually participating in our first prototype house for a kit home that's specially designed for natural building, in particular hempcrete. In our case, we want to try and bring the knowledge that we've learnt in the first stage, running workshops, doing straw clay, and bring that into the second stage of the construction here at the Narara Ecovillage. And we're currently doing testing on hemp clay, fire testing, because their building needs to meet BAL 29, and also working with Newcastle Uni and doing structural testing of our kit. Particularly, using clay is a bit more user-friendly and more readily available than lime. I've found that, lime can be a big expense, can be a bit dangerous in a workshop. If you take precautions and you got the ratios right, it can be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've run a lot of straw clay workshops where everyone's just getting muddy and having a great time. So really want to bring that well-being. Looking forward to the construction of that house in phase 2.
You've called that the fast, slow approach.
Fast, slow.
Yeah,
that's right.
I just really like that, where someone can just, get the main sections of the house up quickly, and then they can do the infill themselves at a slower
That's
rate,
right, yeah, because Megan and Geoff, they've, done really well in their own owner building journey through various different methods of learning it all themselves, and then Megan getting a builder to help her out, and just pooling the resources, which has been developing here at the Ecovillage, because everyone is helping each other and passing their knowledge on. I've sort of seen the financial, the technical, the struggles that owner builders face. So we really want to try and take a lot of that stress away, having a code mark certified structure, feel a manual on how to build the structure quickly, get a roof over it, and be assured that it's going to be structurally sound. And then a manual that's going to say, right, your frames are up, get your electricals roughed in, get your framing inspection, then take you through to the construction phase. Here's how you make your mix, maybe even run a workshop to fill your walls, bring in that community, and just a more of a guide to try and make it more accessible, make it more fun, and to encourage people to just get in. And I just don't want natural building, especially hemp, to be just for people that have the money. It should be accessible for anyone that wants to build a home, because it's such a great resource.
We were talking a little bit earlier before we pressed record about the cost and value benefits. Can you comment on that?
One of the reasons I chose to build with hemp was the breathability, and another reason is just, that it's the natural installation. So as long as you get that tamping right when you're building it, and you let the air bubbles, the pockets of air be in the wall, it's not a rammed earth wall. And so you've got that insulation. Once you've got that envelope of the insulation, we've got the double glazed windows. Our designers made sure that the aspect of the house is such that, the sun's coming in the winter and it's not coming in the summer. And we've got a concrete floor, and we've got MudTech earth bricks in the middle of the home. So all that thermal mass is picking up that heat that's coming in the windows. And with that insulative layer of the hemp around the outside, it's just been a dream here in winter, where we're so warm without any mechanical heating. Today is pretty grey, so we're not seeing that beautiful sun streaming through, but it works.
Yeah, it's a long-term investment, and I think not just financially in terms of your energy bills, but I'm a firm believer in the psychology as well. We look at biotecture, bringing natural elements into your home, and what you look at, what you breathe, and how you feel. You come into a place like this and you just feel calm, and it's hard to explain, whether it's the light hitting the walls or the ambient temperature, but you just feel straight away that it's calm, and it just feels natural and healthy for you. So it's I think it's a combination of everything. I don't know whether you've got something to add, because you guys actually live in a hemp house.
Well, as owner builder, I found it was quite an affordable way to do your wall structure, particularly given, the labour was free. And the material, we're lucky here, only about 2 hours away, is where the hemp in my house was grown. So quite small transport miles. So affordability is certainly there. I have an 8.8 star designed house, and as owner builder, I made sure it ended up 8.8 star. By doing things like sealing all the cracks around every external opening, and doing slab edge insulation on the concrete slab, which the concreter who put the slab down had never seen that in his life. It's well sealed, well insulated. I did put in conduits in the hemp in case I decided I needed air conditioning. Never needed to. So the conduits are there. There is no air conditioning. There's a little wood burner stove. For warming, and that's the only heating in the entire house. And because it performs so well, hemp is such a good insulator, and it's breathable, so you don't need to open windows and doors in the middle of winter. It's really affordable. Highly recommended.
Awesome. And you're all speaking into the one speaker today, but their sound quality sounds quite good. Can you guys comment on that at all?
Yeah, that definitely was part of the reason for choosing it, was that, absorption of the sound that hemp does. This house has it's low ceiling in this room, but in the rest of the house, it's got some high ceilings. And I was concerned about that noise bouncing around, and it's very comfortable. We don't have issues with that.
And I would add that given we're all double glazed windows with very solid frames, very solid walls, concrete floors, when you close up the house, the stillness is just extraordinary. Just that peaceful atmosphere. You have to experience it. You can't really describe it.
It's just the density and the mass of the walls, and the structure really does have an impact, a feeling on you, rather than 100 mil stud frame wall width and fiberglass in it. So it's I'd love more people to be able to experience the feeling.
People can experience the feeling if you want. At the Eco Village, at the last weekend of every month, we have an open day. Come and join us for an open day. We do tours around the village. We're part of Sustainable House Day every year, where you can go in, probably 5 or 6 houses every year open up, and you can join the homes. So yeah, you can just look us up on the website, nararaecovillage.com.
Yeah.
So that's once a month the tours happen. That's amazing. And so you've got a whole range of houses, not just the hempcrete houses. And it sounds like other community aspects, probably some gardens and such, the activity centres as well. Just curious if there's any sort of accommodation style where people can actually stay the night.
Yes, we have what we call Paperbark House. It's some accommodation here at the village. Quite a few people have also built studios as part of their houses. Our neighbour has a studio with an earth floor and straw panel home. Geoff has some spare rooms in his house that he often lets out. So yeah, more and more people get to actually experience living in the homes as well.
It's awesome. You've got to experience it to really understand different elements of it. That's why getting in there and, as you guys have done the volunteering on the hempcrete builds, and but I suppose that starts with the piquing of interest, and that could be just coming for a tour, or staying in one of the different houses and understanding why natural building materials could be the way to go for other owner builders.
Not only are we learning the skills and the advantages of natural materials, the builders who come to the village to build their houses are learning this as they do that job.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like builders ask me, how do I get into natural building? And, I've had people, designers come and want to work with me constantly. And, I guess that's what I'm hoping to provide in the second phase too, is to open up workshops to builders, tradespeople to come and learn hands-on. And I think that's what this village provides, is really good opportunities for people to come and experience. And in the workshop community sense, like here at the Eco Village, the more people you meet, the more you're going to be pointed in the right direction. It's really a resource, a hub. There are people out there that want to get into this, into hempcrete, into natural building. It's just a matter of getting those people to find the right people and go to the right locations and just have a go at it, So yeah, it's been really good, and look forward to stage 2.
I suppose upskilling in all different trades is important, but when a plumber takes on an apprentice, they take on the one person. But with a hempcrete build, as you mentioned, there could be 5 or 10 people on the build all learning together.
That's right.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. We had Shane Hannon from Hannon Build in Dungog come and help us for a day or two to get us started on our hemp build, because we've got a round wall. Our architect here really loves curves, and I did as well. We've just got one beautiful curved wall, and so we were wondering how to do that correctly. And Shane and his team came, and it was fantastic to have their experience and them be willing to share their experience more widely.
Yeah, there's definitely the sharing of knowledge amongst this natural building community, and especially with the hempcrete crew around Australia. And so, that's why these kind of podcasts and the videos that are out there are really important. And so a big thank you to all you guys coming together in front of this hempcrete wall to talk about hempcrete. I'm marveling at that circle window behind. That must have been a challenge inside that beautiful decorative wall.
Yes, well, that was an example of the community coming together as well. I mean, that was, Will's design. And I must say, there was one point where I thought I really need to cut costs. Maybe I'm going to lose the round wall because I need to cut costs. I don't think I even said that to Will. Every day I'm grateful that I did not do that, because looking out that round window, you can't see it today, but the different angle of the camera, but the forest is behind there. Just framing things in a different way with that roundness just brings so much joy. And I just would encourage people to just, wherever you can, just to have 1 or 2 things that really just bring you joy in your home. Because one of my other carpenter, Tony, who's here from the village as well, one of the things he said to me when I was trying to make decisions, Megan, you won't remember the cost. It'll be the beauty that you remember. So
yeah, I personally had no idea this wall was going to be created in such a way. I thought the round window was enough, and and it would look amazing with the views, like many other things in this house. To see the wall created in such a way was beautiful, because I've seen it a lot in rammed earth. I've seen it a lot, but in hempcrete was just beautiful. So yeah, and such a cozy room for it.
Yeah, so I have to thank my neighbour's friend who's an interior designer and architect. Her name's Ava, and she was the artist behind this wall. When you're doing this type of wall, you can't see until the formwork's up to here before you can actually start to see what you've built. And so the vision of the artist, who's built this wall is incredible, that they can picture what they're doing without seeing it. And then the reveal, the day that we, took it off for the reveal, was amazing.
Yeah, hempcrete reveals are always very special, but when there's a very organic design and some real thought that's gone into it, then that next levels that reveal, doesn't it? So I feel we're building a lot of houses in Australia and around the world, and there is an option to build with different kinds of materials. The urban sprawl and the clearing of land to build houses that are, semi-substandard with some kind of toxic building materials, and then they don't have that warmth of biophilic materials, and let alone the insulation factors. Just wondering, in your experience, Michael, in regards to building, have you worked on sort of large-scale volume builds? And do you think there's a way that we can bring hempcrete from these sort of smaller owner-builder scale to the larger scale of building?
Did most of my training through high-end architecture, which was good to get your brain going. And I guess nothing's really normal. Every situation's going to be different. That's sort of how I approached working with hemp as well. So it's just another material to figure out, learn about. In general, I thought it's really quite a simple process. You just got to get, obviously, a few key things that you just have to get right.
One thing that I did have a question about, did you find the curing time of hemp really slowed things down on the build side of things?
It didn't impact the build. It wasn't a real high labour job, carpentry wise, so we just had enough people to keep moving. We were never out of work. So, I'm always interested in just what sort of products that can be made out of hemp. Obviously very versatile, and it's been used for centuries and centuries. I don't know how far back it goes. It goes back a long way. So, it's just sort of bringing it back, and you can make blocks, you can make panels. It's stuff that we're already doing, but you use hemp for it. Massive opportunity for it, and I think that's how it'll come more into the mainstream. Ultimately, for me, from what I've learned, the just in situ, I think gets the best result. Thermally, I just think that's the ultimate for me.
And aesthetics.
Yeah. And aesthetics, big thick walls. It's just you just can't beat it for performance. I'd like to see it come more into the materials space and see what could be done there.
You're investing, a little bit of time now to have that beauty and performance for the long term.
Yeah, and I guess I was just going to add to that too. We've supplied Megan with compressed earth blocks, and we've explored making hempcrete blocks in our machine, and works quite well. We aren't quite set up yet for large scale, so we started exploring panels, and it seems quite feasible, from 600 to 900 that can be transported and moved. And because I really think that that's where a lot of the industry is moving, is to panelized systems that can slot together and be made, can go up more quickly on site. So essentially you're provided with the structural frame infilled with hemp. But there is obviously questions that we're thinking around being able to seal it up quite well, and not have that, that thermal bridging. So obviously doing it on site is, the optimum, but we are to sort of, if there is a labour shortage in the people that can install the hemp, maybe it's a good first step, and the development has been able to provide this material that's been pre-filled, cured, and essentially a carpenter can just slide it together, much like the Beaver panels the Beaver guys have done. It's a really great innovative system. So, I think I hope to see more of that coming into the mainstream, so that it is more readily available, and just seeing more and more hemp suppliers popping up, and I can see it's going to be, it won't be long now, and it'll be more readily available.
First started my journey was 2019 and to 300 houses built. Now we're up to about 600 houses. So, it's not the scale of the volume builders, but, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the hempcrete cake behind you. We are starting with that cast in situ method, and it seems like the 5 builds that were done at Narara Ecovillage were all the cast in situ. But as you mentioned, there are blocks and bricks and other things coming along. There's some guys doing some cast and block, so it's block on the outside and a cast on the inside, which does seem to speed up the process. And we could look at structurally insulated panels, SIPs as well. And there's pros and cons of everything, but it does seem like you guys have gone for that cast in situ method, and perhaps that community aspect of building the cast in situ method sort of made it more achievable.
Yeah, it definitely works here with that, community aspect. So that's worked for these houses. I know, Will, that you've been involved with the University of Newcastle. Mm-hmm. Do you want to say a bit about that?
Yeah, Sarah Breen Lovett, she's a senior lecturer at the Newcastle Uni. We met her at the Natural Earth Building Association, a conference they put on each year. Very like-minded in terms of wanting to bring, natural building to the wider audience. Key to that is the affordability. Yeah, how do we make it more affordable? And so we're looking at advanced industrialized processes using CNC machines, making like a structure that people can easily assemble. 2 people is the aim, kind of like we're making a joke about it being like an IKEA house where you've got all the bits you need and it gets assembled, and that structural system has been certified, code marked in a way, and you can quite easily, fill it with hemp, or, it's catered to that. So, and I guess the well-being aspect and the community aspect is core to that, so that we want to encourage, community to come in and fill and complete this and pass on that training, and, potentially even you help me build my house, I'll help you. And so, we just, love that ability to come in and help each other and share the knowledge. So I see that it's a multi-pronged attack of trying to make natural building and hemp more available to people, is to just make it affordable, accessible, and just make it fun, and then everyone can experience the benefits.
Gives people that sense of ownership of building their own house, like building their own bit of IKEA furniture. That was one of IKEA's ideas behind doing the flat pack. It sounds like you're dreaming almost of a flat pack hempcrete house.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the main hurdles that we've found nowadays is you need to have a performance solution for just about anything that's remotely different. And so being able to have the structure, the feel, and, certified, code marked for BAL 40 and, for various different regions to take away that hurdle.
Breaking down barriers. Well done. Some final words to add into it. Geoff, if you were to build a hempcrete house again, what would you do differently?
I can't really think of anything that I would do differently second time around, other than it would be so much more relaxing than the first time when I had no idea what I was doing. Now I could confidently do it again, and I recommend it to anybody who's thinking of it.
So it sounds like taking on that knowledge and taking the time to talk to people and plan in advance is probably what you did, and that's the advice you'd maybe give to others.
Yeah, I did have the luxury of time. I took 18 months for the build, and I spent a lot of that time learning. Looking at a lot of YouTubes and speaking to others who'd done it before. There was a lot to learn. The end result, has been a great reward for that effort.
So moving over to you, Michael, have you found that once you've got together not just the knowledge but the equipment, does that maybe make it easier to move on to the next house?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's nothing like you can do the course, but there's nothing like going through a full house build. You can only learn so much from the course. Like Geoff said, just a bit less stressful. Because I think we did what we needed to.
I suppose a follow-up question there. You've got the paddle mixer, and do you have a particular formwork system that you use?
Yeah, just form ply. We don't have any sort of elaborate winders or anything. Let's see what happens, and if there's a few more coming along, we can start working on stuff.
Nice. William, if you were to really dream big and let your imagination run wild, what would be the sort of grand design of a hempcrete structure you could think of?
Yeah, well, I guess I really do love organic forms, curved forms. I do think that they have a great energy in a fully round building, whether that's a hexagon or an octagon or, or a combination of two together. And so, but yeah, it's got to be realistic at the end of the day, for the builders. I've learned a lot from builders in terms of detailing. Geoff shared a number of details, and then talking to builders about, how the roof comes in, and so yeah, there's a certain, I've definitely learned a lot because I've had dabbled in the building side of things. So just knowing sometimes too that simplicity is often better, so I like that in this house there was, Megan really's like one nice rounded wall, and then the rest, so you've really got to choose your battle. So I haven't really thought too extravagantly lately.
Look, simplicity is good. It means that it's more achievable, keeps the budget down, and that envelope is easier to achieve. So a nice north-facing rectangle is sometimes what you're after, but dreaming a little bit big with some curved walls sounds great. Thanks, William. Megan, so you're at the Narara Ecovillage. Fill us in on how people can learn more about the Ecovillage.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, well, we have a website, nararaecovillage.com, and there's a lot of information there. We always love having you come to visit, so you can come to one of our open days, which is every month at the end of the month. You'll see the dates on the website. There's lots of little videos about us online and different media, so come check us out.
Look, I am totally looking forward to do that. I've heard about the Narara Ecovillage for many years now, and I'm really only, an hour and a half away here in Sydney. Maybe the next video I do will be actually at the Narara Ecovillage, and I can be, actually hanging out on that couch physically with you. But it's been a pleasure to hang out virtually with you. Thanks so much for taking the time to organise this. Thanks to, all you fellas for jumping in there and saying your words, and also thanks to the tech guy. Because having the good sound has been fantastic, but pulling it all together was Megan. So, really appreciate your efforts in this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, cool. See you later, everybody.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Bye.
If you enjoyed tuning into this podcast, please give it a thumbs up or comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. And of course, we'd love to hear your questions about hemp building. So head over to the Hemp Building directory and feel free to have a cruise around. Plenty of info there. Or if you want, you can always book in a chat with me and we'll go from there. Now, if you did enjoy listening to this podcast, I'd really appreciate if you shared it with someone that was interested in hemp building and sequestering carbon out of the atmosphere with this wonderful plant and locking into highly insulative walls that are also fireproof and bug-proof. So that's me tuning out. Ciao for now.
Thanks so much again, Megan. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, and from anyone that's going to be listening to us around the world. I did have some fantastic feedback from when I went down to the Hemp Connect forum. People did listen to the podcasts, and they came up to me and said, the one that you did with Will Brain and the one that you did with Kirsty Wolf was really valuable to us, and they're academics that are already listening to these podcasts. So, they do have a big value. So thanks a lot for reaching out and making it happen. Jeremy with a J signing off, and hope to either do another one of these virtually or come up to the Narara Village when I find the right time, and maybe stay overnight with my daughter and do a few videos.
Nice to meet you, Jeremy.
Bye.
All right, see you guys. Thank you.